I want to join the other deputies congratulating Deputy Daly and her team and the people who have been campaigning on this issue of reporting maternal deaths, and commend her and them for that work. I won't go into the details of it because it's not an area where I have expertise, but I hope they will not mind that if maybe I use the opportunity to raise an issue and hopefully raise amendments which we will present to the Department, the Minister, on another related area in terms of the Coroners Court, where we believe, where I do have an interest and have I think some experience that might improve the Coroners process. And this is in relation to fatalities from cycling accidents. People have been killed. I mean, it could apply to other traffic accidents, but I have a particular interest in that area. And I know we were mentioning a great academic, a giant from Trinity, Deputy Daly mentioned earlier. My comments are very much based on the analysis of Dr. Mike McKillen from Trinity College Dublin, similarly, but who, on behalf of the Dublin Cycling Campaign in recent years, has been trying to attend as many of the coroners' hearings as possible in relation to road fatalities in Dublin involving cyclists, to try and use that avenue or mechanism to ensure that we learn the lessons of each tragedy that occurs, and that we try and understand what's happening, why there's so many cycling fatalities happening, and what could we do to avoid them. And in talking to Dr. McKillen, I suppose the amendments that we'll be presenting or the suggestions will be coming directly from that experience in Coroners Court. It's coming from a very positive, constructive attitude and approach. So I hope this bill, just the timing of it, is very useful for us. And I suppose I'm thinking very much of Luby Magori Ramirez. I could name a whole host of other names, unfortunately, people who have been involved in tragic deaths on the roads. But I mentioned her. She died in March last year at the roundabout on the Whitehall Road and Templeville Road, if people know it. Typically, with so many of these incidents and cycling deaths involving an accident where a truck is turning left and the cyclist is caught under the wheels. We all know of other cases. I know personally of several friends who've died in such circumstances. And her coroner's report, as it happens, just happened 2 or 3 weeks ago, was attended at by Mike among various other inquests he's heard. And I suppose the suggestions we have coming out of that are very practical and very specific, but I hope maybe this bill might be a useful opportunity to provide that insight into the running of the courts, of the coroners' courts. The first, and these are very practical, but that's what we need, is that in many instances in such hearings, evidence is presented to the jury, often in relation to the vehicles involved, the mechanical evidence around the nature of the vehicle or the technology or the state of the vehicle. But from our experience, I'm talking about Dr. McKillen now, that evidence is not presented, in a sense, in a public way. It isn't on the record, and we believe it should be. We believe that that sort of evidence should be presented not just as evidence for the coroner and the jury to consider, but should be available publicly, which it isn't under our experience, so that the knowledge is shared, so that the full evidence is presented in a very public way. Secondly, and these are very technical and specific, and I'll come back to them at a committee and report stage, hopefully, if they're ruled in order. The evidence that often is presented, you would often have in these coroners' courts in relation to traffic accidents, you might have young Gardaí presenting in terms of reporting on the evidence of what actually happened. But it's never really clear, or often uncertain as to what their real expertise is, what their training has been in relation to the understanding and the reporting and the analysis of road traffic accidents. And there is a real science around the recording and reporting and understanding of what's happening on our roads and what's happening when fatal accidents, or indeed any accidents, occur. And our experience, as well, Dr. McKillen's experience in reporting or in attending all these hearings, is that it's often very uncertain as to what experience or expertise the Garda have. And a lack of understanding is what the training and what the development of the skills of the Guards, I'm not blaming the Guards in this regard, they are put in a very unfortunate situation if they end up attending a coroner's court where they don't have real skills and expertise. And I think one of the recommendations we have in that regard is that the relative experience and expertise and training of the guards in such circumstances would be again shared and made clear, and to raise the quality of the forensic analysis and reporting and understanding of what's happening in such fatal cases. I listened with interest from my own office, the Minister, in your own speech. I think it was section 20, you said that you're looking to maybe possibly remove juries from the instances of some traffic fatalities where maybe there isn't any, where it's very clear what might have happened, a single vehicle accident, no other vehicles involved. I'll be honest in terms of I'm slightly nervous around weakening the provisions of any analysis of road fatalities, and while I fully accept the difficulties that may arise where we can't impanel a jury and there's a series of adjournments, which is the last thing that you want a family to go through. So obviously there maybe needs to be flexibility, but I suppose the points we're raising is actually to raise the importance and significance and attention to this coroner's court process, because 160 fatalities a year are intolerable, and we should use the process to bring people with real expertise in to understand how could we avoid these accidents, where could we go to make that happen. And again, to add to that, we believe that there is a real case, or maybe a case, and we'll try and draft an amendment which encapsulates this, that in cases, coroner's courts involving traffic accidents, particularly cycling accidents, but pedestrians, every fatality is a tragedy, that there should be a provision that the National Transport Authority, or a suitable other authority, perhaps it could be local authority, has a road engineer with real expertise on hand to be able to give evidence to the coroner's court in terms of what might be possible. And I give an example where that might be, kind of why we call for that. You sometimes hear in a coroner's court hearing, let's say for example on a tragedy at a roundabout, that nothing could be done, you can't put a cycle lane through a roundabout, when actually from the cycling fraternity campaign side we know that you can. We know that actually it requires a completely different design perspective in terms of how roads are designed, and we need to start bringing that in to the coroner's report, so that the real expertise, the highest level expertise, is available to coroner to say, if we've had an accident at a particular junction, what's the complete reconfiguration of the roads as possible? And you need the best experts there to be able to present that evidence, and so that the coroner's findings and the coroner's direction to the local authorities has real effect. And that's not happening in our experience in the reporting of Dr McKillen back to the cycling fraternity under the current system. So we're looking to see some sort of a technical provision where the best possible, highest level of advanced road design engineering capability that the state has is directed to be made sure that it appears in any such hearings. And then the last, and these are very technical but important provisions, is I suppose to just the experience that the actual scheduling and understanding the information around these coroner's hearings are often not that easily available. It may often be only if Dr McKillen would only hear of a particular coroner's court hearing that he's able to attend if the family directly communicates and say, listen, it's coming up next week. We would like to see greater public notice and provision for the likes of NGO organisations such as the Dublin Cycling Campaign or other people interested in road safety issues, including the Road Safety Authority, obviously, and others, to be able to contribute, to attend, contribute, and have clear notice regarding such hearings, because they are of huge public importance, particularly to those who are involved in trying to reduce the level of road fatalities. So, as I said, I hope that's not inappropriate. The bill does relate to the issue of technical amendments and other important amendments in terms of coroner's process. We think it's right to add to some of the experience we have on how we might reduce road fatalities and improve the process of coroners' reports in that regard, and I welcome the chance to speak on that basis tonight. Thank you.